Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.
Well, Tom Cotton, not a liberal, was not happy about this either. Why is see, now this is funny. So you have, on the one hand, Trump trying to take credit for the ceasefire, which he should because he did it. You have Biden trying to take credit for the ceasefire. And then you have guys like Tom Cotton who like Trump but don't like the ceasefire. They're trying to blame Biden for the ceasefire. So you have a third section. Why is lame duck Joe Biden trying to cram down a bad deal on Israel on his way out the door? Wasn't Biden forced the deal on him, Tom Cotton? It was your man, Donald Trump. The only deal should be unconditional surrender by Hamas, which is already nearly destroyed. Well, no, it isn't. Anthony Blinken said they've recruited almost as many new fighters as they've lost, and return of all hostages. Instead, we hear reports that Biden is demanding that Israel withdraw from key terrain in Gaza, release dozens of hardened terrorists for every one hostage, and get back only some hostages. Here's the deal to offer Hamas and its patron, Iran. You have 5 days to release all the hostages or we unleash hell. See, so he's trying to blame Joe Biden for a bad ceasefire deal. That's how fucked that is. Mohammed Shaheda, Israeli media is crystal clear. All it took to get a ceasefire deal done was pressure from Trump on Netanyahu, who folded immediately. Biden refused to do that for 15 months. As a Saudi diplomat told me, Biden considered any pressure on Israel as tainting his legacy. And here come the headlines. Netanyahu didn't want to end up like Canada or spend his retirement in Greenland. There you go. We got another one here. Negotiations for the deal faltered until Trump sent the man to the Middle East on special missions. Trump will claim that his threats sealed the deal. Biden will say that the deal was sealed that the deal that was sealed, was the one he presented back in May. It is hoped that the two can agree that the deal was sealed thanks to American pressure. Yeah.
So if Biden could have done this, why the fuck did he wait till 5 days before Trump became president? Don't you think he would do this before the election so that Kamala Harris and the Democrats could retain power? Why would he wait until after they lose the election to actually enforce a deal that he's taking credit that he could have enforced the whole time? Of course he didn't do this.
No, of course he didn't do it. This deal was on the table. Israel didn't want it, and so he said, oh, okay, well, here's some more weapons. Here's some more bombs then.
Yeah.
We'll do it your way. That's exactly what happened. The hostage deal, where Trump's madness became the Trump card. It's not just that Bibi is afraid of Trump. He is irrational, and therefore his threats have a greater impact. He doesn't play by any rules. He came to create chaos in the political system and in the orders that were customary until now. That's right. So the envoy that Donald Trump sent to negotiate, he sent it on the Sabbath. Talk about not respecting rules. He sent them on the Sabbath, and he said, I'm not interested in your Sabbath. That doesn't matter. And we actually have some video of Donald Trump's envoy arriving in Israel, forcing them to negotiate on the Sabbath. Here it is.
What's this day of rest shit? What's this bullshit? I don't fucking care.
There he is. That's the guy who got the ceasefire done right there. One more time.
What's this day of rest shit? What's this bullshit? I don't fucking care.
That's kind of I mean, it is kind of amazing that Trump's envoy said that.
Yo, man, that's some art of the deal shit. Send them on the Sabbath. That could have been a deliberate choice. You want to let them make sure they know that we're not fucking around.
And they sent a Jewish guy so they couldn't throw anti-Semitism.
Send the Jewish guy on the Sabbath, and when they say we can't do it, say you're going to do it. You're going to do it. Mm-hmm. That puts them in an inferior bargaining position from minute one. I absolutely think that was part of the plan.
100%.
Either your brains or your signature are going to be on this contract.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's exactly what that is. Yeah,
yep, absolutely.
And I thought that Trump was gonna force a deal. That I had said that many times. That even on Chris Hedges' show, I said, fingers crossed, Trump likes a deal. And maybe he likes taking credit for deals, and he doesn't like war. And so we knew what was going to happen if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz got elected.
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
Hope. I said, I don't have faith, but I have hope that Trump will will be Trumpian and enforce a deal. And I can't believe it happened this fast. Okay, can you believe this?
Well, I think when he tweeted out that video of Jeffrey Sachs trashing Netanyahu, and he did not issue a formal invitation of Netanyahu to the inauguration, that signaled to me that he doesn't want this on his hands when he takes office. He wants this behind him when he takes office. Now, we'll get into a little bit some speculation about what might happen down the road. There are not quite clear skies yet, obviously, but I don't think he wanted a genocide going on when he takes over. I think he saw that as a political
take ownership of this.
Yeah, I think he definitely saw that as a liability, which is why he acted with this urgency in the days heading up to the transfer of power. I think that's how I would explain that. Netanyahu agreed to Trump's outline even at the cost of the hostages' lives. So, yeah, they're not getting all the hostages back at once. They're getting 33 back in phase 1, and then they have to agree on phase 2. That's why I say you're not totally out of the woods yet. Hopefully, with this momentum, they'll be able to work through the rest of the phases. That's why not all the hostages are being released just yet. How about this for a headline? This is in the Times of Israel. Arab officials say Trump envoy swayed Netanyahu more in one meeting than Biden did all year. Well, that says it all, does it not? Glenn Greenwald tweets, "It's not a surprise to anyone honest or clear-eyed, but it will make left liberals utterly confused and lost. Israeli media and Netanyahu's closest allies are adamant that Trump forced them into a ceasefire deal for Gaza they didn't want, something Biden never even tried." Yes. Biden gave a brief statement on this today.
Really?
Yep. And afterwards, a reporter asked, who gets credit for this, you or Trump? And here's his response.
Credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
And off he goes. Notice he didn't say me.
Thank you.
Books credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh.
No, you're a joke. Yeah. No, you're a joke, and Kamala Harris is a joke, and Antony Blinken is a joke. You guys are the joke.
Yep. And it is
5 more days.
A very sick and sad joke indeed. Cosmic Cowboy points out when the ceasefire goes into place, and it will now because Joe Biden wants to be credited with it, just remember he and Netanyahu planned it all out to end just this way after 15 months of U.S. weapons caused this level of destruction. That is Biden's legacy. That's right. So this is the legacy. We'll mute that in case that's a copyright issue. But yeah, this is the legacy of Joe Biden. And this would have absolutely continued under Kamala Harris, as we'll show you. I mean, anybody who's been paying attention to this has known this all along, which is why many have been very, very keen to make this point as news of this ceasefire comes out, which we'll get to in a moment. But before we get to reactions and stuff like that, Dave DeCamp from antiwar.com says it looks like the Gaza deal that's on the table doesn't include an Israeli commitment to a permanent ceasefire. So this is why, to be fair, we don't want to, act like we're completely out of the woods here on this just yet. Details of the second phase must still be negotiated during the first. Those details remain difficult to resolve, and the deal does not include written guarantees that the ceasefire will continue until a deal is reached. That means Israel could resume its military campaign after the first phase ends. The Israeli official said detailed negotiations on the second phase will begin during the first. He said Israel will retain some assets throughout negotiations, referring to a military presence, and would not leave the Gaza Strip until all hostages are home. This was also reported in Ynet, which was shared by Mohammed Sahada. Israeli media claims Trump promised to allow Netanyahu to violate the Gaza ceasefire and resume the war after signing a deal. Trump's gift bag also includes lifting all sanctions on Israel's spyware, Pegasus, and Israeli settlers and extremists, and allowing major West Bank land theft. Well, we know that Israel is very excited to annex large portions of the West Bank next year. They're excited for Trump to help them on that. And so I do think it's important to point out that, look, as much as this is obviously fantastic news, with Israel, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop because there simply are no depths to which they will not sink. Like, there's nothing they won't do. And so, obviously, vigilance is warranted, whatever you're dealing with the Israelis. So, just to put in that caveat, to be fair. But here's Jeremy Lafredo, who got a taste of the Israeli justice system, quote unquote, when he decided to do some journalism over there. Yes, exactly. He says, I was told by liberals that I needed to vote for Harris because, quote, Trump would be even worse for Gaza. Trump just forced Netanyahu and his squad of Likudnik criminals to accept a ceasefire deal. It turns out the 2024 U.S. presidential election was truly a choice between theoretical abortion rights and ending a genocide. Yes, indeed, Jeremy. Abandon Harris. Remember them? We had Abandon Harris and Shama Sawan on this show just about a week before Election Day. They put out a statement. They're looking much more vindicated than the uncommitted people, I got to say right now. Abandon Harris campaign welcomes ceasefire but demands accountability for Gaza genocide. Yep. This development confirms what many of us have known all along. The primary obstacle to ending the genocide in Gaza was the Biden-Harris administration's unwavering support for Israel's brutal campaign. Absolutely. Hey, here's a guy who all of a sudden decided to jump out in front of the ceasefire parade.
What a piece of shit.
Some of us said a year ago, says Mehdi Hassan, that the U.S. president has the power to impose a deal and a ceasefire on Netanyahu and Israel. If President-elect Trump can do it, Biden could have done it for the past year. Shame on him and Blinken and the rest of them. Max Blumenthal replies with the fact check. You spent last October shaming Jill Stein voters for seeking to hold Biden and Blinken and Kamala accountable for the genocide they were carrying out and promised them, yes, promised them that Trump will be even worse than Biden on Gaza. That's right. That's right. Finally, our friend Nick Cruz from Revolutionary Blackout Network says, a vote for Kamala Harris was a vote for genocide the entire time. Every single progressive who endorsed Kamala should be shamed and never taken seriously ever again. Linking, of course, or I should say screenshotting the headline from August. And this was a big, big story at the time. We all covered this. Harris vows no change to Israel policy approach if elected. So there you have it. There you have it. We will have to keep a close eye on this. Obviously, as I said, you never put anything past Israel. So things could go south at any time with them, as we know. But what we know for sure right now is that this ceasefire would not have been implemented were it not for Trump's envoy, and which doesn't so much prove the geopolitical and strategic genius of Trump so much as it proves just how little Joe Biden gave a shit about this. All you had to do was say, no. That deal that was on the table in May, you're taking that deal. You're taking that deal because we're telling you you're taking that deal. We're not going to argue about this, right? We sign the checks. You drop our bombs. This is the deal you have to take. You're taking it, and that's it. And that's it. And it just took sending a New Yorker there on the Sabbath to make it understood to them that they had no choice, and they realized, you know what? We have no choice. And it was as simple as that. And what, it's just, it defies words. It defies words, the contempt that we should all have for Joe Biden when this was that easy the whole time. It was that easy the whole time.
It is honestly, given what it was costing them politically, it is something to really delve into, and I'm sure we will. I'm sure many books will be written about this. What were they thinking? Like, why? Why was their support so unwavering? Like, what? By May, they hadn't done enough destruction. They hadn't wrought enough horrors that you could say, okay, it's enough now, guys. Like, with what it cost them politically, now you had polling just recently came out showing for a lot of voters, this actually did cost her the election.
29%.
29%.
Yeah, 29% of people who voted for Biden in 2020 but refused to vote for Harris withheld their vote over Gaza.
Over Gaza.
So about a third of Biden voters in 2020 who gave up on the Democrats this time did so because of this issue. So that's evidence that, yeah, yeah, maybe this did cost you a lot more than initially you thought. That's a very big number. Because what did they get? They got how many million fewer votes? About 10 million fewer votes, 12 million fewer votes, whatever the final count is. And so, yeah, that's a lot of votes. That's a lot of votes. If you lost 40 million votes over this, distributed throughout those 7 swing states, however the math works out, yeah, that's a lot of votes.
Hey, a lot of us are trying to get our finances in order to start the year off right. And there's some great news for homeowners. Interest rates have dropped and are now in the 5s. If you have been buried in high-interest credit card debt, now's the time to break free. American Financing can help you access the cash in your home to pay off your highest interest debt. Last year, their salary-based mortgage consultants helped customers save an average of $800 a month. That's like giving yourself a $10,000 a year raise. What a way to start the new year. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Call American Financing today at 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.